Let's do one more of those. M equals negative 2/3. Well, let's just make it negative 2. M equals negative 2. And goes through the point 1, negative 4. So anytime they give you a point and slope, you're doing the same thing. Plot the point and then count your slope. So where would we go to graph 1, negative 4 from the middle? Instead of over, which way? To the right 1 and then down 4. So we've got our point graph there. Now, we don't have a bottom to this fraction. What is it? So your slope is negative 2 over 1. So you're going to go up or down 2 and left or right 1. Doesn't matter which way you go. But since your slope's negative, your line should look like this. So it's opposite of the positive. So if we go up 2, because that's rise, up 2, which way do we have to go to 1? To the left. It's the only way to make the line go down. We can go up 2 from that point now and over again. You can do that as many times as you wanted to get as many points as you want in order to graph your line straight. Questions on those? Do what? You mean you have to go down from this point? No. That's a good question. For the rise, you can go up or down. It doesn't matter which way you go from this point. The only thing that matters is that you go over the right way in order to make your line go down. You see, if we had gone up 2, which is fine, if we'd have gone to the right 1, then our line would have positive slope. See, it would be going this way. That's not what you want. That's why it's a good idea, if you're not sure what you're doing, to just graph that right away so you know that your line should match up with the line with negative slope. You can always go up or down. It's the over that makes the difference. Anything else on those? The last thing is parallel and perpendicular. Anybody know about parallel lines, what their slopes have in common? They are the same. Parallel lines, 2 parallel lines, have the same slope. Perpendicular line slopes are opposite reciprocals. Perpendicular line slopes are opposite reciprocals. So this one's easy. If the slope of one line equals 2, then the other slope also equals 2. Nothing there. The opposite reciprocals can be a little tricky. If one of your lines has slope of 1/3, what do you think opposite would mean? Negative. So if one of them is 1/3, then the other one is negative, and then you just flip it. So negative 3 over 1. Okay? If one line is 2/3, then the other one would be negative 3 over 2. You change the sign, and you make it, and you flip it. Change the sign and flip it. If this one were already negative, then this one would have been positive. Okay, flip the sign, or change the sign and flip the fraction. So they may want you to graph a line through 2, -3. That is perpendicular to a line with slope m equals 3. So graph a line through point 2, -3 that's perpendicular to a line that has a slope of 3. So first of all, if we're graphing this point, where would we go from the center? To the right 2 and down 3. Over 2 here, down 3. We got that point. Now the only problem is we don't know what our slope is. But we know that it's perpendicular to m equals 3. So if we have m equals 3, what would be perpendicular to that? -1/3, because remember, that's always over 1. 3 is always over 1. So then we can count our slope. So what should our line do from left to right? Go up or down? Which one of these is our slope? The 3 or the -1/3? The -1/3. This is the other line, perpendicular to a line that has this slope, the m equals 3. We are perpendicular to that. So our slope, the slope of our line, is -1/3. Okay? It's the opposite reciprocal of the perpendicular. So from here, if our slope is negative, it should look like that. It should be going down from left to right. So if we were to go up 2, which way would we have to go for our line to do that? I'm sorry, not up 2. Up 1. Which way would we have to go? Left 3. And you could do that again. And if you had gone down, you would have had to have gone to the right 3. Either way works. What if it had said parallel here instead of perpendicular? What would the slope be? 3, because parallel lines have the same slope. No. No, don't have to do anything with that other line. They're just telling you what the other line's slope is so you can figure out what your slope is. So this time we'll graph a line through 1, 4 that's parallel. Parallel to a line with slope m equals -1/3. So we can graph our point 1, 4 over 1, right, and up 4. And then our slope is parallel to this line. So what would our slope be? The same thing. It's parallel. So the slope of our line that we're trying to graph is also -1/3. So from this point, if we go down, which way would we have to go to make it negative? To the left or the right? To the right. If we'd have gone up, we'd have to go to the left. One more quick example. This time I want to graph, it goes through the point 3, 4, and the slope is undefined. So this one goes through 3, 4. We can easily graph our 3, 4. Slope is undefined. What's that mean? Vertical line. Doesn't get any easier than that. So you put your 3, 4, and you draw your vertical line. If you didn't know what undefined slope meant, could you get that down? No. So that's what you have to know. Undefined means vertical. Questions? Put some homework for this section. Looking up there at 13 through 18, it's just they give you 2 points, and all you have to do is find the slope. You do not need to graph those. It says to, you do not have to graph those. Just find the slope. And then the next section, they tell you a point, and they tell you the slope. Those you do have to graph. You don't have to find the slope because they give it to you, but you do have to graph those. Let's do 13 through 24. And 30, 31, and 35. Those last 3 are parallel and perpendicular.